Out, sir.
We'll give you 7 seconds back.
All right. Thank you, Secretary Mayorkas, for appearing before our committee. I know it's been a tough day for you, and I think that's for good reason. I want to start my comments with looking at the causation of this crisis at our southern border. You know, it wasn't more than a couple years ago during the Democratic primary that your boss, now President Biden, said during a debate, "We're a nation that says, you want to flee, you're fleeing oppression, you should come." Everybody with a brain saw this coming, sir. We all saw this coming. We saw this president, during his race, roll out the red carpet. We knew what it was going to cause. Everybody shouted it from the rooftops, and now it's here. And you all want to act like it's something else. You all want to act like you didn't invite this, and you most certainly did. Sir, you said in your opening statements that you're attacking cartels and smugglers in an unequivocal way. You most certainly are not, sir. As a matter of fact, if they were in this room right now, the heads of these cartels, you know what they'd tell us? They'd say, hey, re-elect these guys again, and by all means, keep that guy right in his seat because he's our MVP. He's making it so easy for us to smuggle drugs, smuggle people, get gangs into this country, distract our Border Patrol agents, and at the same time, destroy the U.S. economy. So you're not doing a good job, sir, and that is why right here, you see that, sir? You see that one on your left? That resolution? Those are articles of impeachment that Congressman Andy Biggs, and several of us supported. Now, I've never met you before in my life. You and I have no personal beef. There's no animosity as far personally. The reason that I agreed to sign on to these articles of impeachment with my colleague and others is because of the dereliction of duty. You know, I've got graphs up here too. You can see these graphs showing what it was like at the border before you got into office and what it's like now. Here's the sad thing, sir. These aren't just graphs. They're not just numbers that have been thrown at you today. They're American families. And I'm so glad that my colleague made you or asked you to get up, turn around, and face one of them. I'm glad that you had to look at something that wasn't just a data point or a graph, but you actually had to look at a family because there's tens of thousands of them. Tens of thousands. 70,000 because of fentanyl alone. That doesn't count all the families that have been destroyed by gangsters that have come up through South America, or the families that have been destroyed because of sex trafficking. I'm glad you had to face them. You know what, sir? I actually had to face one of them in my district last week. I had to face one of them in my district last week, and it was hard. This woman was choking back tears, asking me, "Congressman Crane, what are you going to do? My daughter was killed. My beautiful daughter was killed because of fentanyl." And I said, you know what? We've drafted articles of impeachment to remove Secretary Mayorkas for his dereliction of duty. You know, it's interesting, sir, because Mr. Higgins, one of my colleagues up here, noticed your smugness. I noticed it too. And you know, for somebody that has a history of working in border security like yourself and knowing, and my colleague right here, Mr. Breachin, he just pointed out that you worked for administrations where they were actually building walls. But you know what? Me and this gentleman right here went on a helicopter tour down in Texas where we flew around the border, and guess what we saw? Piles of steel just stacked up on the ground, like he said, of a wall that the American taxpayers have already paid for. And because of your dereliction of duty, and because of this president and this administration, we continue to have drugs, gang members, sex trafficking pouring into this country. And you sit there with a smug look on your face. But I noticed for a second, because I was watching your face. I was watching your face when the family behind you stood up. Mr. Pfluger asked you if you would address them. I noticed that just for a second, the smugness left your face, sir. And I'm glad that you had to feel uncomfortable today. And that's not because I don't have any humanity at all. I look at your story. I look that you immigrated here from Cuba. And you know what? I think that's great. I really do, sir. And you might not think that in this exchange right here. I think that it's a great thing that America has so many amazing immigrants here. And this side of the aisle, we're not hung up about immigration. We're not hung up about legal immigration. What we're hung up about is how you all, day one in office, came in and changed policies and started getting rid of infrastructure that was keeping our states, our counties, and our cities safe.
The gentleman's time has expired.